Hello to all the wonderful humans. How are you guys doing? I hope you guys are doing well and welcome. I am Aboli and I make science-based skincare and haircare videos. If you are interested in that space, then consider subscribing to my channel. In today's video, we are going to discuss about the safety of chemical sunscreens and if these chemical filters cause any cancer or hormonal imbalances in our body. So let's get on with it. I want to clear something before we get into today's topic, and that is that UV radiation is a carcinogen. In fact, WHO classifies UVA and UVB as group 1 carcinogen, which means that there is more than sufficient evidence that UVA and UVB can give us cancer. So it is important that we use some kind of a sun protection so that we are not affected by these UV radiations. And sunscreen is definitely one of the protectants that we can use. I would also like to address another myth. I would say that Indians or brown skinned people do not need sun protection because we already have melanin. Yes, we have melanin, and yes, melanin is body's way to defend itself from these UV radiations. But according to research studies, melanin gives us less than 13 SPF. So we know that it does not give us adequate protection from these UV radiations. I mean, body has many defense mechanisms, like body has its own immunity, body has WBCs. So if you get an infection, body has its own defense mechanism to fight with it. But it still needs antibiotics to give that extra push to protect the body from these harmful infections. Similarly, even if you have melanin, you need the prevention and the sun protection that sunscreens give us. Okay, I would also like to address the second aspect of this, and that is that yes, brown skin people can also get skin cancers. Only because you haven't seen any skin cancers in your life does not mean that it does not happen. I'm going to link all of the statistics that I've read related to cancer in India and globally. You can go and check it out. So yes, Indians can get squamous cell carcinoma, melanoma even, which is very severe. Apart from skin cancer, according to me, UV radiations also have a severe effect on our skin related to faster aging, increased hyperpigmentation, also a lot of UV damage over the years, and we have seen many examples like this photo, right? So don't be under the impression that because you have melanin, everything's gonna be okay. So yes, you have a choice if you want to use sunscreen or not, but I would say make that choice after you know both sides of the story. Okay, I have my notes and I'm going to talk about 3 chemical filters, and that is benzophenone, octinoxate and avobenzone, most commonly used in all of our sunscreens and most controversial. Okay, let's start with benzophenone, benzophenone 3, oxybenzone, whatever you want to call it. Okay, so the issues that we are going to see are if it is an endocrine disruptor, if it causes any cancer, if it gets absorbed in the body, and if it gets absorbed, then what harm does it cause in the human body. Okay, let's start with the cancer part first, because there are many articles, many studies, many people out there who claim that there are many articles on benzophenone that claim that they are carcinogenic. However, the most glaring evidence that I have is that none of these studies were done on humans. So all the evidence that we have, all the research studies that we have are done on mice, rats, monkeys and rabbits. The second thing is that these research studies have used concentrations which is much higher than what we use for cosmetic purposes. For example, one research study has done dermal application on mice, and they have used 0%, 5%, 25% and 50% of benzophenone, and even after that they have found that benzophenone is non-carcinogenic. In the study where they have found that it's carcinogenic is the study where the mice were actually fed. There was oral administration of benzophenone, and after the oral administration they found that there is increase in incidence of carcinogenic activity. There is a lot of selective reporting that's going on, but let's be real, we are not eating our sunscreen. Now you would think that if we don't use it, why are there studies in oral administration? That is because benzophenone is used in many other industries. First being that it's used as a flavoring ingredient or flavoring agent in our processed foods, it's used in plastic industry, it's used in other manufacturing industries. So like cosmetic industry is not the only one using benzophenone. Benzophenone is still used as a flavoring agent. The concentrations remain under control. So you understand what I'm talking about, right? None of the research studies directly correlate to, first of all, humans. second of all, how we are using it, and third of all, the concentration in which we use it. Now let's talk about the next, and that is endocrine disruption. And I would like to apologize before I talk about this, because I remember in one of my videos that I did, I think 9 to 10 months back when I started YouTube, in one of my videos I had said that it's better to avoid chemical sunscreens if this is the chance that we have to take. And that is something that I do not stand by right now after doing in-depth research, because there is no evidence that suggests that it causes endocrine disruption. Okay, now again, the endocrine disruption studies were done on mice, and they were given subcutaneous injections of 100 and 200 to 400 milligrams per kg of their body weight. So you see the amount that is given to these rats, and you must have guessed, and that's right, we also do not inject chemical filters in our body. As I've said before, we are not mice. Hopefully, we are humans. We have a more complex anatomy when it comes to our endocrine system. Yes, we get an idea that this might happen at that concentration, but you have to understand that concentration is very, very important. Like if I put you in a chamber of 100% oxygen, you can get oxygen toxicity. If I give you water and I tell you to drink 20 liters of water in one day, you might get water toxicity even. Now, water and oxygen is something that we need every day and we use every day, but that is in low or limited concentrations. But if I increase the concentrations, that will become toxic for you. Similarly, in these studies also, you should take a look at the concentrations that is used, because it's very, very, very important. Okay, we're also going to talk about absorption, and this was done on monkeys, and they put 70% of benzophenone on the monkey, like dermal application, and it was seen that the whole thing was absorbed in the monkey's body in less than 24 hours. Then it was also seen in the GI tract, and it was also seen in the urine of the monkey. So for many people this is scary because a chemical is being absorbed in your bloodstream, but there was no evidence of any endocrine disruption or any other problems in the monkey's body after this was absorbed in its bloodstream. So yes, it's getting absorbed, but it's not causing any harm. So I think this is where personal choice comes in, if you want to use oxybenzone or not. And I would also like to tell you guys, the sunscreens are not like a new phenomenon that they've just been in the market for 10 to 20 years. It's been 100 years since sunscreens have actually been in the market. Like synthetic sunscreens, it was first invented in 1920, and it was benzyl cinnamate was the first synthetic chemical filter that was used. And then slowly new chemical filters came into picture, and in 1960s to 1970s we see the rise of avobenzone, and by 1980s all of the chemical filters that we talk about were already in mainstream sunscreen market. So we have been using these sunscreen filters for 40 to 50 years now. The cosmetic ingredient review checked the safety of such ingredients, and this is a screenshot. This was done in December of last year, and as you can see here, according to them, oxybenzone benzophenone 3 is safe to be used in the cosmetic products. Okay, so ultimately what is the verdict when it comes to benzophenone 3? And the ultimate verdict is that you will have to eat benzophenone to get cancer. If you are not comfortable with using it because it's amidst all the controversy, then it's definitely your choice and you don't use it. But for me, because it gives so much protection against the sun, and again, if you go online, go on Google Scholar, you would see that there are many research studies which actually show that they give good protection against UV radiations. So when you weigh the pros and cons, ultimately I think there are no studies that I can put in the cons section, so I will use the sunscreen filter. Now I'm going to talk about octinoxate and avobenzone, and yes, octinoxate is again a very controversial chemical filter, and these chemical filters also have the same story as benzophenone. The studies that were done on mice and rats, and when it comes to octinoxate, yes, they found some endocrine disruptive activity when it comes to mice, whereas none of the studies were done on humans. There was a study when it comes to all of these chemical filters where they were dermally applied, and then the absorption through skin was checked, and it was checked and the blood levels were also checked if they have these chemical filters or not. And yes, it was found out that these chemical filters can enter your bloodstream, and it was seen that the plasma levels are higher than what is approved by the FDA. Now this is the data that I've gotten from Lab Muffin Beauty's blog. If you're interested to check it out, it's very interesting. I have it linked in the description box, so go check it out. I'm going to talk about avobenzone, and according to her, 1000 milligrams was applied dermally. And yes, there was absorption, and the absorbed quantity out of 1000 is 0.0116 milligrams. So you get an idea. Yes, there is absorption, but is it so much that it's going to cause any harm to your body? And the answer is no, because there's no evidence found that it causes any harm. Now, interestingly, I did find a study on mineral sunscreens as well, and according to that study, it was an in vitro study. What we think about zinc oxide and titanium dioxide, I think this was specifically on titanium dioxide, that they are inert. They do not interact with other free electrons, so they are very stable in nature. But this in vitro study actually found out that when titanium dioxide comes in contact with sunlight, it can be broken down, and in fact it can also cause these oxygen reactive species, and that is free radical. So this sounds really bad because titanium dioxide is in almost all the sunscreens that we use. But there was another study which was done after this in vitro study, where they checked titanium dioxide in sunscreens. Like when titanium dioxide is added to the formulation of the whole sunscreen, they found out that titanium oxide does not behave like it did in the other study. Like it is very stable when it is used in a formulation of a sunscreen. So you see the difference, right? You see the conclusions are completely different when a different method is used, when different concentrations are used. So if you ask me, are you going to continue using these chemical filters? And for me, I'm going to say yes, I am going to be using these chemical filters definitely, because time and time again, research after research, it has been proven that these chemical filters work to protect us against these harmful UV radiations. And that's it for the video, guys. I hope you guys liked the video. Also, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. And that's it. Until next time, bye.